Breaking bombshell news this evening because according to reports in the Mail on Sunday tomorrow, Prince Andrew secretly told paedophile Jeffrey Epstein, quote, "We are in this together."
Once feted as the dashing action man of the monarchy, Prince Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor seemed untouchable, a royal hero, a naval officer, and the Queen's favored son. But that has now shattered into pieces. Today, Andrew stands stripped of titles, duties, and dignity. A man cast out from the royal circle he once ruled with confidence and charm. Yet, as the glitter fades, something darker remains. Disturbing whispers and bizarre accounts have started surfacing from those who used to orbit his world, telling a chilling story of a man who lived not by the rules of the crown but by the indulgence of his own desires. Insiders with access behind palace. Walls and luxury hotel doors speak of a life of staggering, excess lavish demands, impulsive outbursts, and a sense of entitlement that bordered on delusion. The boundaries of power, privilege, and pleasure seemed to blur for Andrew, then vanished. From a constant stream of private massages to late-night gatherings abroad replete with glamorous guests, a pattern emerges. Although many specifics are allegations, the overall picture is hard to ignore, a royal who mistook public respect for personal immunity. Let's delve deeper into Andrew's secret, indulgences, and the unsettling truths about the double life that insiders claim was every bit as chaotic as his public downfall. There was a time when Andrew could do no wrong. The Queen's second son, adored by the press, admired by servicemen, and chased by high society women. Yet beneath that carefully polished royal image lay a man with a swelling ego and an insatiable hunger for attention. Over the years, the quiet whispers grew louder, rumors of arrogance, temper, and an unrelenting need to be admired, both in uniform and behind closed doors. Former staff described serving Prince Andrew on overseas tours as a task few wanted. His behavior, they say, was unpredictable, his demands extravagant, and often his treatment of staff demeaning. One aide confided that Andrew demanded suites in the most luxurious hotels, the finest cuisine, and an entourage that indulged his every whim, a lifestyle, in the words of one insider, far beyond his royal rank. But it wasn't just the luxury that unsettled those around him. It was his obsession with image and control. Royal biographer Robert Jobson once described Andrew's peculiar taste for massages, claiming his aides were instructed to book only attractive women for his sessions. One account reported that, while staying in New York, Andrew requested a massage in his suite, only to send the therapist away again within minutes, reportedly because she did not fit his physical tastes. That story on its own might be petty. Within the broader pattern of Andrew's reported conduct, however, it paints the picture of a man consumed by vanity, a prince whose world revolved around appearance, attention, and admiration. Even palace staff realized how far this obsession went. Hours in front of mirrors before public events, demanding compliments and losing his temper if he felt ignored. One former employee even accused him of bullying and verbal abuse. She claimed she suffered under his unpredictable moods, as did many others, including junior staff members and police officers. By the late 1980s and through the 90s, Andrew's reputation was no longer the heroic action prince. He was Randy Andy, the tabloid's favorite scandal. He was photographed leaving nightclubs, aboard yachts, and at dinner parties filled with beautiful women, all while grinning for cameras that once adored him. But then came the most shocking revelation, a claim by royal historian Andrew Lowy, who alleged that on a taxpayer-funded trade mission to Thailand, Andrew's conduct went far beyond flamboyant, and straight into the realm of scandal. Far from a diplomatic mission, according to royal historian Andrew Lowney's meticulous research, it's claimed that during those 4 days abroad, up to 40 women were brought to Andrew's luxury suite, 40. Officially, he was there to promote British trade. Unofficially, witnesses say his priorities looked very different. The diplomats, insiders, and even the staff were reportedly mortified. The line between royal duty and personal indulgence vanished full stop. But at that time, Andrew's royal status made him nearly untouchable. One former insider admitted he's been protected his whole life. By the palace, by the family. He's never had to answer for anything. And perhaps that's what emboldened him. The palace brushed off the rumors. The press stayed cautious, and Andrew, confident, smirking, unbothered, seemed convinced he could outlast any scandal. Those who worked with him paint a consistent portrait, a man who craved admiration and refused to accept boundaries. Behind closed doors, he reportedly acted as if the whole world revolved around him. Staff were not assistants in his eyes. They were, as he allegedly called them, my team of servants. Every detail of his morning ritual was laid out to perfection, toothpaste squeezed just right, shoelaces aligned, his schedule timed to the minute, and when it came to women, the reports get even more unsettling. According to former aides, Andrew had very particular expectations about how women should look and behave around him. One aide recalled him joking, or perhaps not joking, that he disliked being served by larger women, saying, "It ruins the view." If true, it exposes at once not only arrogance, but a complete detachment from reality. A man so insulated by privilege that empathy and self-awareness had long vanished. As Britain's official trade envoy, Andrew was supposed to represent his nation with dignity. Instead, insiders say he turned the role into an endless parade of luxury, leisure and excess, private jets, presidential suites, and fancy dinners replete with fine wine, all on the tab of the taxpayer. Naturally, as one royal observer put it, he wasn't representing Britain, he was representing Andrew. And that sense of self-importance did not cease once he was back in the country. His social life in London also reflected this pattern: glamour, youth, and validation. Friends said that he was magnetically drawn to much younger, beautiful women who made him feel powerful, adored, and relevant. One acquaintance put it best: admiration was like oxygen to him. He couldn't live without it. But fame and flattery can only last so long, and as the scandals mounted, the walls began to close in. The trade envoy role quietly disappeared. His military titles were suspended. Finally, the most devastating blow: King Charles's decision to strip him of all remaining honors and to evict him from Royal Lodge, once considered his kingdom. To a man whose very existence was defined by privileges and prestige, it would be a devastating blow. Now, with Andrew reportedly set to relocate to a smaller private estate, the whispers of his past still follow him wherever he goes. Robert. Jobson's biography confirmed the long-running rumors about his obsession with massages. Andrew Loney called his Thailand trip a disgrace, and more voices keep coming. Aides, party companions, old friends, all adding fragments to an increasingly unflattering portrait of the Queen's once favorite son. It's a kind of kingly collapse that has hardly ever happened before. The story of a man who had everything and learned nothing. Because at its core, this isn't about scandal. It's about character. It is about how unchecked privilege can warp perception and destroy empathy. While his siblings managed the burden of royal duty with grace, Andrew reportedly chose the path of self-indulgence, mistaking attention for affection and luxury for loyalty. And now, stripped of his roles, his power, and his protection, he faces the one reckoning he always avoided: accountability. Today, Andrew Mountbatten Windsor lives in quiet exile, still surrounded by wealth, but no longer by honor. Those who have seen him of late describe a man pacing the empty halls of Royal Lodge, a man isolated and restless, haunted by what he's lost. The grand dinners are gone. The invitations stopped. And for a man who once has lived on admiration, the silence may be the harshest punishment of all. Yet even in obscurity, the shadows of his old life remain. Former aides, acquaintances, and partygoers keep talking about late nights filled with reckless spending, impossible beauty standards, and an obsession with control bordering on delusion. True or exaggerated, these accounts point to one chilling truth: he had lived his life as if the world was there merely for his comfort, and when that illusion was finally shattered, he simply couldn't understand it. And perhaps the worst part? We probably haven't heard the last of it. More whispers, more revelations, and perhaps more accountability are yet to follow. So, what do you think? Or were these merely highly exaggerated tales of a spoiled royal? Or do they reveal who Andrew really is behind the polished facade? Share your thoughts below. I read every single one. And if you want to be ahead of the next royal revelation, don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and tap the bell because the story of the Windsors is far from over.